Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and welcome to the last installment, part 8 of Written in Ink. This has been a free 8-part journal making series that tells the story of a writer who is experiencing a serious case of writer's block and has a deadline approaching. Their mentor reaches out with a little assistance, and that is when the magic happens. This was a free project series that went out to my email list, so each Friday over the last 8 weeks, I sent out a new part of the story and guided you through building the interactive journal pages. If you're not on the email list and you'd like to join us, if you use the link in the description down below, you can sign up and get parts 1 through 8 sent to you immediately. Let's go over some supplies that you're going to need for part 8 of Written in Ink. They're the same again today. We're going to need a liquid glue with a fine point as well as a glue stick if you want to. I like Beacon Fabri-Tac for my liquid glue and Uhu for my glue stick. If you don't have a glue stick, that's fine. Liquid glue will work. A bone folder and a pair of scissors are useful. You'll need the scissors to cut everything out. And I like the bone folder to get nice sharp folds on everything. It's not mandatory. You can use the back of your scissors or your thumbnail if you want to. And as an optional item, I use vintage photo distress ink on the edges of everything. It really finishes off the paper pieces, especially things that are darker like this, so you don't have that cut white edge going on all the sides. So I did this on the edges of everything except for this piece right here. I'm going to tear this piece, so I'll go ahead and put that ink on after I tear it. Part 8 has 5 pages and no backer paper, so you don't need to print the back side of any of these pages today. I do use 110-pound cardstock and 32-pound paper, and you will find an indication on each of these 5 pages as to whether you should print it on paper or cardstock. So look at those files before printing them out to see what you should use. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to move my pieces off to the side and grab my journal, and we are going all the way to the back page today. This is our ending. We're doing both of these pages, and I'd like to start on the left-hand page. So we're going to start with this large pocket. This is printed in cardstock, and we're just going to glue the edges of this to make a really deep, big pocket because we have a really long card to go inside of this. So thin line of glue on 3 sides, left, right, and bottom. And I'll just run that right along there. And I'm going to place this on the page all the way to the side and all the way to the bottom. So all the way to the left-hand side, all the way to the bottom of the page. And then take a little extra care to make sure your glue gets smoothed down in this crease because our journal has gotten a little fluffy and this might want to pop up on you. So you might have to hold it or even close your journal. Make sure you don't have glue seeping out. If you close it, it might stay a little flatter. But just make sure that that glue has grabbed and your pocket is firmly glued down. Next, I'm going to grab this little paper piece. Now, this pocket is in paper. Normally, I use cardstock, but I ran out of room on the cardstock pages. If you don't like the feel of this and you want it thicker, back it on some other kind of heavy material and cut it out. Just glue it down with your glue stick or your regular glue. Cut it out, a piece of chipboard or food packaging or something, just to make it a little bit thicker. It should hold up okay if you're using 32-pound paper. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this also on 3 sides. And this will be a bottom pocket. And again, I'm going all the way to the bottom and all the way to the left, making sure everything is pressed down nicely. Now we have this funky little piece. We're making another pocket and popping it in right about here. So again, 3 sides. And I'm going to place that right about there. Should be fine. At the top of our page, we're going to do some more tearing like we have been. I might have made this piece a little aggressively long, but that's not a big deal. Tear this however you like. You can tear the ends, you can tear it kind of crooked. We've done a lot of tearing in this, and I'm going to do both sides. And in my head, that's probably what I already thought about doing, and that's why I made it so long. And then I'm going to center it up. This is just to add a little texture to the top of the page. We have a lot of other things going on today. but I wanted to bring colors and that book pattern in to the top of the page. You can use your glue stick for this. I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac, just a quick swoosh there. And there we go. Moving to the right-hand side, we have another paper piece, this one with a bunch of writing on it, and I'm going to tear this as well. You can do this however you want. We're going to, where's my pocket? Oh, over here. We're going to layer this pocket on top of it. So this is just an accent piece that's going to peek out for a little layering element. And I think what I'm going to do is just tear downward. And it looks like I didn't ink this either, but that's okay. If you inked yours ahead, it's not a big deal. Just re-ink this little stripe here. And you can also save your little tear off and use it as an embellishment here in a minute if you want to. There we go. And I'm going to glue this down all the way down. Again, your glue stick might work better for this. I'm going to stick with my Fabri-Tac. The glue stick likes to get all over my work surface, and then I spend a lot of time either having things stuck to my surface while I'm trying to make videos or trying to clean it off before it dries. So something like that. And I have saved the piece I tore off, and I will come back to that in a minute. And now we have our pocket. This pocket has 3 tabs. You're going to want to fold these 3 tabs in like so that it makes this kind of deeper pocket. We have a really thick card that's going to go in here. I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure these are nice and sharp. And go ahead and put glue on all those tabs. And then tabs are on the left, top, and bottom. I'm going to place this in right here, like so. This is going to become a little drawer that you can open up or pull the card out and it'll look like a drawer is the idea behind this. Let's bounce back to the left-hand page. And we have this little saying piece. Every beginning deserves an ending, even if it's not the one you planned. And this is going to serve as an embellishment here on my pocket. I think I'm going to not tear this. And so I'll make sure that my edges are inked. You can tear this if you want to for a fun, scrappy look. But this is where I'm going to use my tear offs from the last piece that we just used. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to grab a couple of these pieces. Just tore a little bit of it off, and I'm going to use these as an embellishment along here just to give it a little more dimension. And again, if you need to, or if you want to, you can add some ink to these. There we go. And just a little something like that. I like that. And then that carries that print over to this other page. And you can do what you like with this. You don't have to add this. You can just tear the piece. You can add other things that you have on hand. This is kind of a place that you can play and have fun. So now we have the structure of our pockets done, and we need to work on all the ephemera. So let's set this aside to dry. And let's start working on all our ephemera pieces. I'm going to go with these pieces first. I have created mirror image pieces so that these last storytelling pieces can be more substantial and feel more special at the end of the journal instead of them just being kind of flimsy and blank on one side. Now, this one is a little fussy. This one might be a little tricky as well. As I recommended at the beginning of this series, cut out 2 defining areas, like on the candle, maybe the flame and the base. Do that for both pieces. Glue them back to back and then use your scissors to cut out the rest of the shapes, and things should line up pretty well. That could work for the flower pot as well, the bottom of the flower pot, maybe some of these petals at the top. Glue them together, and then do your best to follow the lines. And then repeat that for the seashell. So once you have those all cut out, you should be able to just glue these back to back. To have these nice thick finished pieces. You'll want to make sure you get all of these little details. Now, if you don't want to be fiddly and cut all these little tiny leaves out, I tried to split the difference between having an interesting plant and not having to cut too many little fiddly bits. But if you don't like it, you can just honestly cut more straight and trim them off however you like. It's your project. So if you're like, I don't have the energy for that, don't do it. Trim off the parts that you don't want to mess with. We've got our candlestick. And now that's finished. So I'm going to let these dry off to the side. And let's look at these two pieces here. These are both double-sided tags, so they're going to get folded right in half. And then we're just going to glue them, the backs together. So just going to put a really good scribble of glue. You can use your glue stick if you prefer. And I'm going to give that a good smooth with my bone folder, and then repeat that for the journal entry. I wanted everything in the ending to feel substantial and thick and nice and fun to hold. There's just something about substantial paper crafting pieces that they make me happy. All right, there we go. Now we have two tabs. These are just going to fold in half like all of our other tabs. And we're going to place one on our drawer as a drawer pull. So glue on both sides. Right there. Right, try to center it up top to bottom as best you can. And then this one is going to go right over the top. So just pinch that right over the top as our last detail. All right, so that is our ephemera pieces ready to go. I'm going to bring my journal back over. You may want to let everything dry really well before inserting it into your journal, or else things might glue themselves together. So this big card is just going to slide down inside. That's another reason it's so thick, so it can hold up to the length of this pocket, trying to get it down in there. Here's our drawer card. You might recognize our writing desk from the writer's box. It's a freebie 8 or 9 weeks ago. And I'm going to slide this in, but I'm going to leave it open a little bit. I just like the little peekaboo there. You can push it in all the way if you want, but you have plenty of room here to let that kind of stick out. And then for our pocket, got all of our little fussy cuts, all of the little reminders of everything that has happened over the last parts of the story. And those are going to pop into there. And that is everything. This is the end of Written in Ink. I hope you've really enjoyed this series. I have enjoyed putting this together for you. I had this story on the back burner for a while and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And it made for the perfect little project series for my email list. I'm not sure what's coming up next. These series do take a little while to put together for you all. We'll probably have some one-offs for a few weeks until I come up with a new idea if I haven't already. So hopefully you enjoy both the larger series and the smaller projects, and hopefully you'll stick with me as we have new adventures into the future. Please like, subscribe, click the little bell notification icon, and hopefully I'll see you next week in the next video.